Vidya, so good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
It's always great to see you, A, because I'm such a great admirer of your work, but
Thank
B,
you.
because invariably I have the best laugh that I've had in weeks when I've seen you.
Thank you. That's a lovely compliment. Thank you.
What I want to start with, Vidya, however, is not a laughing matter. I want to talk to you about this whole conversation about sexual harassment that has been reignited by the Harvey Weinstein scandal in Hollywood. It's opened this can of worms in Hollywood where more and more victims are naming names and speaking out. In your opinion, Vidya, is it fair to say that this culture of silence has existed, like the West, here as well, where really the casting couch, sleazy predators, it's been an open secret, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But you know, having said that, I'm living example of the fact that not everyone is a predator.
Sure.
You know, it's how you dictate the equation. But having said that, I'll go one step further and say that I come from a very privileged background where my survival didn't depend on this. You know, so I could, I always, I think, unknowingly, I'm processing it now, but I gave out the vibe that, listen, I'm doing this for passion. I'm very serious about this, but, you know, so I wouldn't interact with people in a way that was personal or, you know, almost err on the side of caution. Maybe it's also a middle class thing, you know.
Right.
You'd rather, if you smelt a rat, then you just keep away. That was my way of protecting myself. But having said that, I heard of people being, you know, propositioning girls and women, people who had been absolutely fine with me, going ahead and, you know, being nasty, threatening, propositioning other girls. And I would always wonder why.
Right.
But, you know, and I tell some of them that you shouldn't keep quiet about it. But they'd say, you know, I don't want to be known for this controversy. Which is also another fear that, you know, that your calling ticket shouldn't be the controversy.
Right.
And there's also fear that maybe then other producers won't give you work.
You become the troublemaker.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there have been instances of girls like that. Now, one doesn't know whether it was only because of lack of talent or determination or something of the sort. But, you know, it does seem like, oh yeah, if you speak about it, maybe, you know, no one wants to work with you after that. But I'm glad people, you know, women in Hollywood are speaking up. But what shocked me, Rajeev, was that I always thought that at those levels, with that kind of success, female actors in Hollywood would not keep quiet or would not accept something like this. Not that sexual harassment doesn't exist, but I never thought it existed at those levels.
Right.
But I guess it exists at all levels, and sometimes maybe people take their chances, you know, knowing that sometimes maybe at that level you have more to lose or as much to lose. You don't want to talk about.
Right. The reasons for not speaking out are so many. You know, I have to say, you were obviously very fortunate that you didn't have to encounter that. But it's also true that so many women who don't necessarily put themselves in that position become victims of. You know, I have to say, I've been reading, you know, some very intelligent actresses actually taking this very cynical view where they put almost the entire blame on the woman. Saying that you shouldn't go to the room, you shouldn't put yourself in that position, you do it, you know, these women keep quiet, or they go through with it because of the sake of their career. It seems like a really cynical view, isn't it?
No, but you know, that's exactly my point, that I didn't go through it because I was so careful sometimes that I walked away from certain opportunities when, even before anyone could say anything, you know, you get a vibe. And I would just walk away because I wanted to be safe.
Right.
You know, but I don't think it calls for you, whatever you do for the sake of your career, firstly, is absolutely fine, or for the sake of your life. No one should be judging you either way. But if something makes you uncomfortable, you know, in today's environment, I think it's easier to talk about it. You would be blamed previously, which is why women would not talk about it. I think
the whole victim shaming, victim blaming.
More than, you know, the career or anything like that. People who weren't actresses, people who weren't in powerful positions, or who weren't engaging with powerful people, still kept quiet because the fingers would always be pointed at you. You know, which is why even with rape, so many women would keep quiet. And sexual harassment, you know, it's very difficult to define what exactly sexual
True.
harassment is.
True.
You know, a man can be looking down at your breasts and
Correct.
I can turn around and say, listen, you know, that's not acceptable.
Right.
And it's happened to me. For example, when I would travel on the train from Chembur to VT, I've had so many instances and friends of mine would tell me, just keep quiet. You know, why tomorrow you're traveling alone by train and someone can do something. And I'd say, you know, tomorrow he'll rape me and go, and then you'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
You can't keep quiet. But that's, you know, I had really nothing to lose even then. But when you've left home, come from another city or another state, you know, when you have to run the house or just when it's a matter of survival, getting from one day to the next, and therefore you have limited time within which there's so much at stake.
Right.
Not to say it's, you know, you can't judge whether it's right or wrong. If
Right.
anything, I'm saying, you know, you can say that women should speak about it and all of that, but you can't judge when they speak about it. You can't judge why they
didn't speak about it earlier.
and why they didn't before. I think that one has to completely, you know, get rid of the blame game.
Sure. But then let's talk about your appointment to the CBFC recently, the Central Board of Film Certification, or the Censor Board as we notoriously describe it. How did they succeed in getting you to join the board?
You know, actually, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Smriti Irani, called me and she said, would you be open to being on the Censor Board? So I said, what will it entail? So she told me, and I said, no, but what if it's my film? You know, she said, then you recuse yourself. That is, you know, that's a rule.
A conflict of interest, yeah.
Then, or if it's any family member's film, then I said, yeah, because I do have family in the industry. So she said, then you recuse yourself. So she said, you won't have to watch every film.
Right.
And I'll describe to you in detail when you have the first board meeting. But if you're open to this, and I told myself, I said, you know, we've all been, you know, all been on the other side.
Yeah.
We've all very openly criticized the way things were happening. And I said, if I want to be part of the change, then this is my opportunity to at least give it a shot. And then, you know, see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. It was like one conversation and I agreed to it.
You know,
and
I think there's a lot of misconceptions attached to what exactly is the role of a board member. You don't watch every single film. You don't certify every single film.
But everyone asks me that.
Right.
And Rajeev, I didn't know it until...
Right. I mean, I know because I was on the board before.
Yeah.
It's mostly policy making.
Yeah.
It's about defining vision, defining direction.
Yeah. Also when... you know, like maybe we should talk about how there is an examining committee comprising of people from different walks of life. And if the director or producer has a problem with the certification given, then it gets forwarded to the revising committee, which is where we come in. You know, and a single board member watches it with, again, a panel drawn from, you know, with people drawn from different walks of life.
What's been your experience so far?
Yeah, I've done 2 films so far, and it's been very interesting. I'm also learning along the way, you know, because you learn. I think what's most heartening is that as a board, we're all on the same page, as a team. And I think it's a great start.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it really is important that it's artists, it's working professionals actually be on that board and bring up a perspective that is a current perspective.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about your view on the Marcel controversy. This is, of course, the Tamil film starring Vijay that's run into stormy waters for being critical of GST, of the Prime Minister's GST and Digital India initiatives. The Tamil Nadu BJP chief demanded that these offending dialogues be deleted. The BJP has been accused of igniting a religious controversy, of really imposing restrictions on freedom of speech. Why should a film, once censored by the CBFC, have to make any cuts because of political pressure? Now, I know it puts you in an awkward position because you are part of a BJP-appointed censor board. But as an artist, does it make you cynical? Does it make you sad?
No, I do feel that, you know, firstly, art should be outside the purview of any political considerations.
True.
And it's I'm also, you know,
Yeah.
being careful when I say this, because I don't want to offend any sensibilities. I value my position as a CBFC member, but having said that, that should be the ultimate authority, you know,
Right.
unless in some cases where, for example, people don't know that a CBFC cannot ban a film.
That's right.
Yeah. So then it's the state's prerogative. It's a state decision. But having said that, I really think that there's a board to do its job. And in a democracy, we should be, a film, importantly, should, I think, is either someone's, you know, someone's imagination or someone's interpretation.
Right.
And it should be allowed to be that.
Moving on, Vidya, you know, there was that line in the Dirty Picture which has gone on to become a punchline now, of course. It'll probably be inscribed on your tombstone someday. Filmein sirf 3 वजह से चलती हैं.
Entertainment, entertainment, entertainment.
Now, when you look at what a bad year it's been for Bollywood, such few films have made money this year. Is it because the entertainment's missing, or is it a much larger, deeper malaise?
No, I really think that audiences have become very, very astute. You know, they smell a good film.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it, but and you know, there are all kinds of films that are doing well. So it's not only one kind of film that's doing well, because I know that a film like, I haven't seen it, but Toilet Ek Prem Katha did well.
Right.
And then Golmaal is doing well.
Correct.
And then
Judwa does well.
Judwa does well. And then your Rajkumar Rao film.
Correct. Newton.
Newton did well. So all different kinds of films are doing well, which is a great sign, which just means that I have a feeling they're so astute, almost spiritual, that they smell intent.
Sure.
They smell intent, they smell conviction, and they go with it.
Right.
You know, and some films that have every ingredient for a success, maybe because they've been fashioned to be a success, don't end up being one. And, you know, and those films that sometimes you feel have absolutely no, like Newton, who could have imagined will go on to do the business. It did. Sure. Shubh Mangal, Savdhan, Bareli Ki Barfi. It's so nice to see all kinds of films doing well. And that's not to say that therefore a Judwa and a Golmaal won't do well.
Right.
So I think it's a very important time for the industry where, you know, probably we're just being told it's a kind of a reality check or a leveler where you're saying it's okay to say content is queen, 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 queen.
I love that you say queen.
But that you really need to focus on the writing, on the development. Therefore, even, you know, at the pre-prod stage and all that, really figure out, because it's all about conviction.
Sure. You know, you have a new movie coming out in a few weeks. How invested are you, Vidya, in a film's financial performance? You know, as an artist, I know that you've said that you like not to be too bothered by how a film performs at the box office, because that's not in your control anyway. But as the wife of a film producer, do you find that you can't help but be invested in a film's financial performance?
Can I tell you that I think because I'm married to a producer, I'm a little more aware of the mathematics of it. I almost yearn a time when I didn't. I remember on the day that Pa released, you know, I woke up at 12 in the afternoon because you know, I didn't even know that numbers start pouring in the morning or people know occupancy. Until then, I was untouched. It was a dirty picture and kahani that in a way corrupted me. Then after a while, it was all about the numbers. And then, of course, you know, a few films didn't work back to back, and that's when then I said, okay, I don't want to be interested in the numbers. But most importantly, I hope that it is a profitable proposition for everyone involved. You know, that would be the ideal situation. But I think, therefore, we need to also look at the economics of it. Sometimes with the best intent, you know, the film doesn't end up making money. But I think if you're able to, you know, if you're able to plan a film within the right budget, where at least, you know, maybe you can make a table profit even before
you stick to schedules,
Like I feel very proud to say that Tumhari Sulu, for example, was made in 42 days. You know, and those 42 days we worked really hard, but we could different locations and all that, But we could manage that only because the planning was very tight.
Sure.
You know, we were fully planned. Or rather, we were very well prepared before we went on set. Of course, then, because there are so many variables, you know, things go up and down. But then you have to leave that much leeway. And you have to give that much leeway for those variables to kick in. But I think now I want my films to do well, and I want Tumhari Sulu to do well.
Tell me, what drew you to Tumhari Sulu? You know, in it, of course, you play a housewife who wants more from life. Is that fair to say? I have to say, it's a lovely trailer. You know, it made me nostalgic for the films of Hrishikesh Mukherjee and Gulzar. It reminded me
what
of
a compliment. Thank you.
Khubsurat and Guddi. What drew you to Tumhari Sulu?
I think, firstly, the fact that, you know, in 2014 or 15, I can't remember clearly now, it seems like a really long time ago, I was on a bit of a break, and my brother-in-law, Kedar Tenny, had worked with Suresh on some ad film. So he came back and he told me, you know, there's this director who's damn good, and he has an idea that he wants to pitch to you. And this is the first time that one of my family members has actually asked me to meet someone. And I trust Kedar's creative instincts. So I said, okay, I'll meet him. I was not doing much, you know, I was just chilling at home. So I met him. And he shared an idea with me. And then, you know, he said he'll come back with the script. And he came back with a script he wasn't happy with. So he shared the idea of Tumhari Sulu with me.
Okay.
But all he said was, listen, I have one idea. I wanted to know if you're excited by it. I said, what is it? He said, it's about a homemaker who lands herself a job as a late night RJ. And imagine her, you know, making rotis, cleaning the house in the day, and then sitting in front of the mic at night and saying, hello, aapki raat humko jagane. So I was like, that sounds funny. But I don't know how it would turn out. When he came back to me with the script, the first draft, and we've come a long way from there, but I wrote on the script saying it's one of the best scripts I've heard in the longest time. It's also the way he narrated it. You know, I always love it when a director can narrate well. And I felt that if he's narrating it so well, even if he's as good a director, if not better, then, you know, it'll be worth doing it. I could see this film has... I'm always a bit foxed by the pronunciation of, what is it? Joie
de vivre?
Joie de vivre? Okay. So, it's got that. She's got zest for life. She's really, you know, there's a term in Marathi, which is Nirlajjam Sada Sukhi. She doesn't care what you think of her. She is happy being a homemaker. She is not one of those who's wanting to break free, or she's not bogged down by the work or taking care of her family or anything. But she'll try every new thing in town. She's one of those who'll call up radio stations and participate in everything. I love the bit where
she tells her, I don't want the pressure cooker, can I get a TV instead?
But you know, as an actor, I've had those experiences when people actually say that, you know, firstly they'll tell you things like, मैं ना किसी के साथ फोटो नहीं लेता, आपके साथ ले रहा हूँ. So yeah. But I love that spirit where sometimes they say, मेरी बीवी ना आपसे भी अच्छा आपका dialogue बोलती है.
Without thinking how it's sounding to the other.
They're just so unabashed, so nonchalant. I love it. So that's the spirit of Sulu. You know, she believes, मैं कर सकती है, and she tries everything. So it allowed for so much humor, and I said, oh my God, I was ready for humor. And she's mad. So I think that madness resonated with me. I said, okay, this is a film that's going to allow me to smile and laugh like I do. And if you've seen the trailer, so that last shot is really, I feel, you know,
that's so
me. You know, friends from school and college, people who are not even in the country anymore, some, of course, from here, have messaged me saying, oh my God, this is so you, this film will have to be seen.
Lovely. You know, you do have this great comic timing, Vidya. And I've told you this before. You have this full-bodied laugh. You know, you're not shy. I think people sometimes are shy of having this ungraceful laugh. You're not shy. Sometimes, you know, even if the joke you've cracked isn't particularly funny, your laugh is very contagious. But this really does seem like the kind of film that you must have had a good time making.
Oh, I had a great time making. Because he's Suresh Triveni's is a kind of guy who's constantly thinking on his feet, you know, and humor needs that. So you know, I can't even claim to have, I think a lot of the improvs were his.
Okay.
You know, I can't claim to, I can't tell you that those were actually my ideas or things like that, because he's constantly trying to simplify, add a layer. Not, he'll always say, you know, does it feel right? And I love that, because he's not saying, you know, this layer should come through, or he's not intellectualizing it.
Right.
I think that's what really I enjoyed. And as a director, I'll say, you know, you have to handle so many people at the same time. There are a few people, I remember telling you this after Kahani, that, you know, Shujoy was wonderful with the team.
Right.
Suresh Triveni is great with people. He invested trust in each one of those working on the film. Therefore, they felt invested in the film. You know, and on set, it was, of course, a happy atmosphere. It's a happy film.
Yeah.
But, you know, the joy came out of doing one's job well and being appreciated for it, because he's a kind of guy who'll say thank you to you at the end of, and these things you learn, you know, you learn so much. And at the end of every working day, I tend to say thank you everyone and leave set. But he's the kind of guy who, I saw that, you know, that it's not fake humility, it's not because this is the right thing to do, but he genuinely feel grateful.
Right.
And I think everyone was like, oh my God, you know, this is our film.
Right,
therefore.
a sense of ownership.
Yeah.
But, you know, as an artist, Vidya, what are the rules to do comedy well? I feel like you have to be unafraid of failing, because it really requires a sort of shamelessness almost. But you tell me. I mean,
I feel I've done comedy for the first time in this film.
Really, but because you're a very good comic artist.
Thank you. You know.
You were very funny in Ganchakar.
Ganchakar, yeah, but you know, Ganchakar had all the trappings of, she was louder, she was, and you're one of those who's always been very kind to Ganchakar, so thank you. It is a part of me. But this is, I don't know, I haven't cracked it yet, but I just feel happy that I could do comedy. You know, because I wondered sometimes if I could do comedy if given an opportunity. And I feel, I think I've managed.
Is that clear?
Yeah, I think it's probably not thinking but not thinking. I don't know how to say this.
Right.
Because you have to constantly be on the ball and yet
have the larger picture in mind.
Yeah, and be unafraid.
Yeah.
You know, to laugh at yourself, to laugh at someone else, to just interrupt and just I don't know. It's
to not worry about how you're looking. You know, I remember Juhi Chawla once saying that you have to be willing to sacrifice vanity. You have to not be embarrassed of looking bad.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and you know, just because sometimes
making faces.
Yeah. And of course, falling, tripping is a very you know, it's for lack of a better. But literally doing all that.
Right. You know, you've always said that you were a big fan of Sridevi.
Yeah.
You've said that Mr. India was one of your has always been one of your favorite films. I have to tell you, it's literally the one film, my favorite film growing up.
Wow.
You got the chance to do Hawa Hawai in this film. Was that you know great because it was that you could pay tribute, or was it sort of on some level intimidating? That
no, it was intimidating. So when Suresh told me, I said no chance. Listen, you know there are some things that people keep asking me about the remake of Arth. I've been offered the remake of Sadma, and I'm like, you know, I would not dare. Similarly, Mr. India, for me, Sridevi in Mr. India is like an encyclopedia on acting. There's nothing she's not done. So I can't imagine, you know, everything she's done in that is crazy. I remember reading a quote by Shekhar Kapoor which said, I didn't know whether to shoot her feet or her face. I always felt I was missing out on something. When for example, when the camera was on her feet, I felt, oh my God, I missed something out. Because she's doing so many different things. So I said, I can't do Hawa Hawai. So he said, you're not doing Hawa Hawai like it was in Mr. India. You're dancing, it's an office party and you're dancing to it. I said, okay, then I can do, it's pretty much spontaneous. Correct. Then I said, that I've done all my life. I've danced to this song all my life, I'll do it.
And was it fun to kind of do that on camera?
Yeah, it was. And I think it took the pressure off because we weren't recreating that.
Right. You know, I was listening to you on Neha Dhupia's podcast on which you were a guest and you said something interesting. You said, And I ask you this because in the film, of course, you play a housewife who puts on the sexy voice in the night when she's becomes a radio jockey. You said apparently growing up, it was your sister who had the sexy voice.
Absolutely. I never thought I had, an iota of sexiness in my voice, or even that my voice sounded good. People would, especially boys, would tell me, listen, let your sister pick up the phone. Yeah, she's so sexy. And they would have conversations with her and all that. So I thought I was one, kacha nimbu. Then when I started doing ad films, I remember some, director saying, why don't you dub the ad yourself? You've got a good voice. And I wanted to learn, you see, because I'm not a trained actor. So I would grab every opportunity and to face the mic. And people would tell me, you've got, there's a nice timbre. And I'd say, okay, whatever. After Parinita, I think people started saying good voice. And then Lage Raho Munna Bhai happened.
Where you played the radio jockey again.
Yeah. So slowly I started becoming aware that, it's not like I'm a kacha nimbu anymore.
Far from it.
But funnily enough, when I did the scenes in, Tumhari Sulu, I thought Suresh, it was a sync sound film, but I thought Suresh is going to tell me, we'll record those portions later for it to sound sexy. So one day I said, so when are we, what all are we dubbing? And I think I expected him to say all the radio portions. I expected him to say radio portions plus all this.
This is after you had shot those portions?
Yeah, right. Completely. So he said, no, we've hardly anything. We've gone through it. Maybe those, scenes where there's some sound interruption. So I said, radio portions? He said, no, we've got everything except where, something fell in the background. And I was like, really? But you wanted it sexy? He said, yeah, it is.
It is, right.
So I said, wow.
You have doubts about your own sexiness, Vidya?
Really? Obviously.
In this film, the character that you play, Sulu, she's been married for about 12 years.
Yeah.
And they're going through a rough, not a rough patch. This whole new career kind of puts...
Yeah, because, it's that change. It's that change from having the woman at home all the time, the woman stepping out. Right. So it's a change for her, it's a change for her husband and her son and everyone, because I know how things change, because my sister, for example, had her twins and she didn't work for 6 years and then she went back to work at some point. And I know what kind of adjustment it required on her part, my niece and nephew's part, her husband's, my parents, everyone, required to adjust to the new dynamic.
Right.
Because the person wasn't available for so many hours a day. So it's that change that we're capturing really in Tumhari Sulu.
Do you know, Vidya, when you're performing comedy on set, whether it's working? Can you tell, or is an artist just too close to the work? I mean, do you need that assurance from the director, from the rest of the team? Did you know it? Because, I watched that trailer and I go like, she's nailing it, those bits. Could you tell?
No, one, because I laugh very easily, so I never go by what I'm
If it's
feeling.
making you laugh.
I could laugh just by the way. The other thing is the unit also, because everyone is a part of the film. I think sometimes people just lose perspective.
Yeah.
But that's where it's so important for the director to be on top of it all, And Suresh was that kind of director he would laugh also, but then he'd watch it and come back and say, no, it's a little much. Or, you can do a little more in this.
Like your producer that he's...
Yeah. So, it's such I love that.
It's a great moment, yeah.
That's Sulu, She's doing a late night show and all, but she's saying, it's okay.
When you watch, have you watched the film?
I have watched the film.
Are you able to be objective?
Yes, not the first time I watch it. Never the first time I watch it, because I'm only watching myself and I'm, first it takes a little bit to get past vanity.
Yeah.
And then you're watching your performance in isolation, which I've never figured how that works.
Right.
Because there is no performance in isolation. But it's almost like you have the best screen presence, because you can only see yourself. But then once you get past that and you're able to see the film, I think I can safely say that I feel it's a good film.
Sure.
Yeah.
You have a good feeling about it.
Yeah. I have a good feeling about it. I don't think I've said this very many times before, maybe never, but I feel it's a good film.
Well, can't wait to find out for ourselves. Thank you so much. Looking forward to watching the film. See you, Vidya. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on the show.